morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, August 7th, 2017. I am Dave Biddle, and I'm very happy to be joined by Steve Helwagen. Steve, move-in day yesterday. What stood out to you at move-in day?
Well, Dave, it was somewhat different because ordinarily that's the first event of the preseason, whereas because they did away with 2-a-days and stretched it out over 5 weeks, they've already practiced for a week and a half and are now beginning what they're considering the preseason camp phase, I guess, with a week and a half of practices over at the Coffee Road Fields over on the agriculture campus just south of Woody Hayes Drive. So things are shifting into another gear there very quickly, and very impressed with the chiseled bodies that we saw. You know, this is the chance to just put the face with the name and that kind of thing, because, you know, usually when they're wearing helmets or whatever, you can't really see, you know, who the guys are other than, you know, their number. But, you know, it was a lot of fun. A lot of guys showed up smiling, which to me was a good indication. Robert Landers, as always, has that $1 million grin from ear to ear. Draymond Jones was happy. I mean, it was different. And I got to tell you, generally, we don't interview any players at this. You go to the Hyatt Place there in Grandview where the team checks in, and believe it or not, there were over 20 media members standing outside the hotel working as the paparazzi, basically, as these guys were, they didn't have a red carpet for them, but they were checking in, and we were able to stop one player, Taekwon Lewis, fifth-year senior, and I think it was all set up ahead of time that he would stop and give a couple comments about how things have gone. And he said so far camp has been outstanding, and he said he's looking forward to getting to work the next couple of weeks and really he said there's still a lot of work that needs to be done before they play Indiana. And then he kind of got emotional a little bit thinking about, you know, how bittersweet it is that this is his 5th year and his last preseason camp, and how he wants this to be a great year and everything else. So you can tell that, you know, it's starting to bubble up a little bit over there, that they really want to get something done this year. And I think that can only be a good thing when you've got fifth-year seniors like Chris Worley and Taekwon Lewis and Billy Price, J.T. Barrett, and the rest of them. I think that's good leadership. And I think another thing that was neat, we had the photo on the front page of Bucknuts.com, was the picture of J.T. Barrett and Joe Burrow coming in almost arm in arm and smiling and happy, and they seem like they are on the same page, which is very good. You want that continuity with your quarterbacks. I'm not necessarily saying that Joe is the next guy in line, because we know Dwayne Haskins is doing pretty well, and T. Martell really shocked some people, I think, in the scrimmage over the weekend. I guess he had a long touchdown run, but it's great to see that those guys are working together. So I gave you kind of a downhill run of everything I've seen here for the last day or two. If there's anything else I've left out, I'm sure you'll ask me about it.
Well, I know a lot of fans are curious about J.K. Dobbins. There's been so much hype around him, and I think some fans are getting ahead of themselves thinking he might even beat out Mike Weber for the starting job because they hear that J.K. Dobbins is taking first-team reps. Well, Mike Weber's been working on the side with a minor injury. And I want to remind people how tough it is for a true freshman running back to start at Ohio State from day one on. It's happened twice, ever. Robert Smith in 1990, Maurice Clarett in 2002. And I think just if J.K. Dobbins can be the backup, that would be huge for him. If he beats out DeMario McCall, which it sounds like he will, that is huge for him just to be the backup to Mike Weber. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he will beat out Mike Weber. But I'm just saying it's very rare at Ohio State, as you know, Steve. Your thoughts on Dobbins so far? Do you think he'll be the starter or the backup? Just what do you envision from J.K. Dobbins this season?
Well, he's definitely in the mix, and the Big Ten Network people, Dave Revson and a couple of their other people, Tom Dienhart and Jerry DiNardo, they all remarked coming out of there. They got to watch the entire practice on Saturday, and they showed some clips from it. We got hustled out after the warm-ups, but J.K. Dobbins apparently had a very good scrimmage as well. He's been taking a lot of the reps with the first team since Mike Weber has been out, and we're going to get a chance today to ask Urban Meyer a little bit about hopefully that situation and where things are at with Mike, and is he going to get in there? Has he been in there? Is he going to get in there? That type thing, and get his reps. So we haven't had a running back stay with Tony Alford yet, although I believe Tony did kind of stop by on his way through the other day, and I think he told some people that Mike is okay in general, and it could just be a precaution because, as I alluded to, this camp is so long. It's 5 weeks long, and they're looking at people like Mike Weber as very important to the bottom line this season. So no reason to get him nicked up or exacerbate an ongoing situation, a hot spot with his hamstring or whatever. So I guess we'll hope to get some answers today about that. But I think it is a good situation if those guys are a tandem, and if particularly remember how powerful it was last year when they would have Mike Weber and Curtis Samuel together in the backfield, two great running threats. If you have that with Dobbins and Weber, and they have some sets where they could play together, that would be tremendous as well to give you that same kind of look. You've got three viable running threats back there when you do that, and really puts a lot of pressure on the defense. So I want to see, of course, Mikey was used as the blocker for Curtis sometimes. Your 1,000-yard rusher was the blocker for Curtis Samuel sometimes, which was interesting. But, yeah, I think they got a lot of ways they can approach it.
Yeah, it's exciting. J.K. Dobbins, whatever happens, it is exciting. I want to say that. I mean, I just want to point out to the listeners how rare it is for a true freshman to start. I know people are kind of, getting taken away by the hype train, and maybe Dobbins will win the job. It's just exciting that he's looking so good so early. And even if he's just the backup as a true freshman, that's huge for him. It's going to be fun to watch him this year. As you mentioned, Steve, we're going to talk to Urban Meyer today after practice around 12:10, and then after we talk to Coach Meyer, we're going to talk to the offensive lineman and Coach Greg Studrawa. And, of course, I want to know about right guard. I've been asking about that throughout the offseason. It was my first question to Urban Meyer this year at Big Ten Media Days. And when we were out there on Saturday, it looked like Malcolm Pridgeon was taking the reps at right guard, but we were not out the first team reps at right guard, but we were not out there for the scrimmage, and I think Big Ten Network reported that they thought Matt Burrell was in there with the first team. Maybe they're rotating to a certain degree. Who do you think is going to win that right guard job, Steve?
Oh, man, I was impressed seeing Pridgeon get off the bus yesterday, but same with Burrell, and I don't know. I think they can both play. I don't have a real strong thought one way or the other. And Demetrius Knox is another guy. It was noted on Saturday he might have been moved over and was repping some at tackle. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on. And hopefully we can get a clarification when we talk to Coach Stud today, and he can run through the gamut for everybody of where things stand. But yeah, I think it's going to be okay, whatever direction they end up going, because they have enough candidates and enough people to fill that job. And the other four guys are very experienced at this point. Michael Jordan did a bang up job, I thought, at left guard last year. I mean, he, like a lot of them, kind of hit that wall at about week 10 or 11, and they had problems finishing the season, but, in a lot of ways. But I think that the prognosis is they're starting over fresh. And when you have a stud like Jamarco Jones, I don't know. I mean, I've touted this kid, and I thought he had a great year last year. I thought he outplayed the two All-Americans on the line down the stretch, Price and Elfline. And to me, I think he could be a potential NFL player, for a lot of years. So it's great to have him back as the anchor at left tackle. You've got Price moving into center, and he's such a conscientious kid that he'll handle that no problem at all. So I think it's going to be better than it was at the end of last year. And of course, that's a very low bar, Dave, but he can't be any worse.
Well, Steve Helwagen always sets the bar very high at Bucknuts, and I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you very much to Steve Helwagen, and thanks to all listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great day. And don't forget, we will interview Urban Meyer today and the offensive lineman and Coach Stud a little bit after noon, so check Bucknuts for all that coverage this afternoon. Thanks again to Steve, and thanks to all the listeners. Have a good day. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.